What's up, you guys? It's 2Bricks, and I'm so excited to be bringing you a brand new mock today. It's been quite a while since I've posted anything new to the channel, and I decided to bring you guys something a little bit special. I actually had been messing around with a couple of different mock ideas, and I decided to go with this one because this was the one that kind of felt like it made the most sense to me and that I had the best grasp on. I was actually led down this path by kind of starting to mess around with some ideas for a Naboo N1 starfighter, inspired by these new 2x3 cylinder pieces that LEGO gave us with the most recent X-Wing. And I started to, flesh out a couple of different elements for that. I didn't get super far, and then I just put it aside because I just couldn't really figure out some of the challenges. But then I was all kind of jazzed up on Naboo stuff, and so I was like, yeah, there's never really been, there's never been a LEGO set, and there's never really been a mock to my satisfaction of this ship that has been done. At least not that I've seen. So I decided to go ahead and try to tackle this one. And it's something that I've had a lot of hesitation about for many years because it's so smooth, it's so chrome, it's so slick, and reflective and organic looking that I really didn't feel like I would have an easy time translating a lot of that and bringing a lot of the features that I like to bring to my models for you guys. So that was something that I kind of wrestled with, but eventually I did get it to work to my satisfaction. And I'm really happy to be able to share it with you guys today. So we're going to take a look. There's a pretty decent size interior. All of the things you see here can go inside of the ship. This is what I've kind of designed it with this crew in mind. So if you have some of these minifigures or all these minifigures, you will be able to set up scenes inside of the ship with them, and I think that's going to look really cool. So yeah, I'm going to just kind of give you guys an overview of everything. We're going to take a look today at the interior, the exterior. I'll give you some little size comparisons to other sets of mine. This is my micro fleet scale version of the ship, and I think they actually look really good next to each other. So that's a lot of fun. I actually forgot that I had done this one, and I didn't refer to it as I was building this, and then I looked back at the end and I was like, oh wow, they actually work really well together. So. But yeah, so we're going to take a look at all that stuff today. So yeah, let's not ramble anymore. Let's just get in and take a look. All right, so I've put the figures aside and we'll take a look at the overview of the ship. So first thing I'll do is turn around and give you guys the swoosh test. As you can see, very swooshable. You can pick it up really securely here from the back, even though it's a very dense ship and there's a lot going on inside. And there's also a fair bit of hollow space. So it's a really, really tricky game to kind of to ride that line between engineering for structural reasons and also playability and access from the inside. So that was something that yeah, I had a lot of fun kind of figuring all those little challenges out. So you can see that the ship is on 3 landing gear, which are pretty screen accurate, I would say, to how you see them in the film. You have the ones at the back here that kind of hook around from the outside, and then you have the one here at the front that's sort of lays flat and sticks out kind of foot-like. So that's cool. And then obviously you can see also the nice sleek surface here all the way down with the sideways built detail in here for the, well, I say detail, it's a big flat surface, but very, very specific in its engineering to achieve a lot of different things and kind of speciality fits that I've never really tinkered around before. So one thing was I really wanted to match the angle of these plates going back, because what I find is when you put a lot of these like next to one another, you have this kind of stepped look where each new one begins, where it kind of just creates this unpleasant area to the eye where it interrupts the flow of this thing. And I really wanted to get something that just kind of blended into that as nice as I could. And so yeah, the solution I ended up going with here was this. It's actually upside down, so the studs are on this side and then hooked in sideways. And I'll show you how that's attached when I take this lid off, and then just keeping the sleekness going all the way down the side here as much as possible. Very few studs, obviously just where they're needed, but I tried to really make it nice and sleek and have as few different facets as possible. I tried to really minimize the amount of steps in the kind of look to get rid of that jaggedy Lego look. And I think it's decently successful at that. I think, as far as the current pieces that we have today, I think it's decently successful at that. So let's take a look at the inside. And then just before I give you a look at the inside, I want to flip it over and show you guys what's going on the underside. So you can see that I flipped it over, nothing fell off or anything like that, so everything's nice and secure and studded in. Again, with the bottom here, I tried to use as many of these tiled off, reverse tiled kind of elements to reduce any kind of look of drag or any kind of clunkiness as much as possible. Obviously, the underside of Lego plates is never going to look ideal in that regard, but I think this is, again, decently well balanced and a good compromise for what I have available. So there's this kind of interesting 3-sphere detail in here that almost looks like a hidden Mickey, which is actually present on the ship, which I never really knew that was there. I thought it was just a really sleek, uninterrupted underside here. So that was cool when I was researching the ship, finding out that exists. But I think it's some kind of like sensor dome array thingy. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And then, like I said here, I have all these relatively new upside down sloped curved pieces to kind of really finish off a lot of these underside elements. I'll show you guys the landing gear being put away here. So you just push that foot in as far as it'll go, and then you just tuck that away, nice and flat. And then these ones, the side here, fit into these little slots, and you can see they just hug up against the side of the engine there. And when they're away, they look very nicely tucked as well. So very, very happy with how all of that turned out. And so yeah, there's the underside of the ship. So this ship actually has canonically no weapons or anything like that. It's these, I thought these were torpedo tubes up at the front here, but they're actually like a recessed area for a flashlight or floodlight to come out. They do technically have them on top and bottom, but I only have them represented on the top. But yeah, even though this was modeled after a real-world military fighter jet, the Blackbird, this is actually, because it's a Royal Diplomatic barge, it requires just a fighter complement alongside of it. Otherwise, it's completely defenseless. So there, that's an interesting factoid for you. So yeah, let's take a look at what's going on the inside of this model. So what I've done is I've placed it on just the landing gear here, just notched out a single notch so that it just sits flat on the table. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you're playing with the thing, when you're not having it on display, I think it's wise to have the landing gear retracted, just so that you don't push down on it too hard and, you know, retract the thing accidentally and damage the ship. So you can see here the whole front side will come off as a single piece, and I'm going to be doing all this one-handed, so you'll be able to see just how easy it is to interact with. So the lid actually has some special stuff going on the inside of it, so I'll show you that in a minute. And then on the inside here, you can see we have a bunk up at the front. This is in universe, there's actually Padme's quarters. This is obviously a much larger ship than I've been able to represent, but this will actually be a sleeping area, so I decided to put a little bunk there for that. And then I have a crate here for storage, which just barely fits in the one little kind of usable bit of space that I had left. And I have a little surprise in there for later, but that's just a little callback to the movie. I'll show you that again a little bit later on. So moving back here, we have, well, here's the spot for the landing gear, so that's where it retracts into, you know, into the inside of the ship. And then we have the boarding ramp, which can come down here. And I think that gives a really nice look from the underside. You know, that iconic scene where Qui-gon is first dueling, Darth Maul. He jumps up on the ramp to escape, so I have a couple of studs there. So you can place old Qui-Gon on that. And then moving further back still, we have just a little area with a couple of studs, so characters could be sitting here temporarily, not with the lid on. And then back here is supposed to represent the droid bay. And this is where all the astromechs would be hanging out, but I only have a spot for one, for R2-D2. But they have this cool little kind of white like hook detail in the movie, like this prop that kind of clasps onto the astromechs, and I've just represented that here. Excuse my finger there. I've just represented that here with a single white kind of bar piece, this modified 2 extended bar piece right there. And actually, if I pull off this back section and get a little bit more light through there, you can kind of see how that looks. And I think that looks pretty cool. And when R2 is in there, it just hugs up against him really nicely. I'll show you that again when I put figures in here a little bit later on. So now I've given away the big surprise here at the back, which is that this lid indeed does come off. It's just held in with 2 studs up at the front here. It sits in there very nicely, and it reveals Padme's royal throne room. And actually not just that, it's got the cockpit as well. So this is a representation for where the pilots would sit. They have a bunch of computer consoles and things to control the ship there. And I left these 2 hollow spaces here and here just to represent a fictional version of the front windows of the ship. Obviously, these tiny front windows here, no one's able to see out of because this is a solid lid piece, but just a kind of call out to that there. So there's room here for 2 figures to sit, and you know, they can have hair pieces and whatever else, and it doesn't interfere with the running of the ship. So whoever you want to have piloting it you can do so. So yeah, then the throne room back here, we have this nice round white detail here on the ground, which is actually represented on the real throne room. 2 red seats off to the side. Those are typically covered up, but they kind of come out of the wall. So when dignitaries and whoever else wants to come and debate political issues, they'll come and pull out a seat and sit around, and they'll all kind of discuss things in a circle. So here we have this nicely detailed up throne for Amidala herself to sit. There is only really a Padme figure that will work for that purpose that LEGO has given us. The Queen Amidala, the only kind of episode 1 era one that we got, has that big round poofy dress and wouldn't really work for this, and she can't sit down either. So yeah, I just placed Padme in there because we all know Padme is Amidala. It's not a secret anymore. So yeah, I think that works out really, really nicely, and I think this whole interior space just feels very, very deluxe for how little space there actually is to work with in the ship. I think I was able to pull off something that looks pretty regal, actually. So yeah, really happy with that. So let me go ahead and place some figures in here and set up the scenes that I like to depict. And then, oh wait, before I do that, sorry, bonus, I was going to show you guys. Under here, we have just a representation for the damaged hyperdrive. So you can have, you know, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon assessing what they're going to do, and they make the decision to go to Tatooine. And so that's kind of an important part of the movie. So I just wanted to have a representation of that. It's a pretty iconic looking prop. I think a lot of people still would recognize it, even if they don't really know the movie that well. It's yeah, I don't know, it's pretty cool looking. So this is my simple version of it right here, and that's just something that you tuck away on the inside of this lid, like so, and then when you put this back on, it just tucks in there really nicely. And one of my favorite parts of the design of this lid here is the fact that these cheese wedge pieces just fit absolutely perfectly in line with the side of the ship here and just close up together so sleekly. So that was something that was a happy accident that I discovered as I was tinkering around with different ways to arrange this lid, and I couldn't be more happy with how that turned out. So yeah, all right, let's put some figures in this thing. So starting up with the front here, I have Anakin placed in the bunk because he's tired and he's going to have a little rest after his long run over from his mother's house to the ship. He's got a little sleepy. And then moving down here, we have R2 placed in the little droid bay. And like I was saying there, that little the way that little piece kind of comes over and just latches onto him from the sides, I think is really, really cool. And then of course you can take R2 out of here and you can have him go around to the side here, and you can attach him and have him working on the damaged engines or the shield generator there. So that's something that's fun, and of course you want to be able to do that if you have the ship. You want to be able to accomplish that. So yeah, you can place him back in there. There's actually room as well for R2 to come in here and stand before the Queen. Like in the movie, she wants to commend R2 for his service, and that's where we first get introduced and hear his name spoken out loud in the movie, so that's fun. So there we go, put him back in his little spot there so he's ready to be deployed for the next emergency. So moving back, we have Captain Panaka and Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting in the pilot's seats. I know obviously canonically they're not the pilots of the ship, but I think it makes sense. You know, we see a lot of shots of Obi-Wan and Panaka hanging back while Qui-Gon and Jar Jar and Padme are on their little adventure on the Tatooine, you know, in the town. So yeah, I think it's cool to be able to place them there. I think that makes a lot of sense. You can actually kind of see, if you lift this up, you can kind of see their faces through there. It's a lot easier in real life to see them through there, but yeah, they're visible through that little window area that I left. And then back here we have Padme sitting in her throne. This is the medium-length legs version of Padme that came with the 20th anniversary pod racer, and her hairpiece, even though it's quite large, fits back here because I made the throne to have a retractable or a bendable seat back. She clung onto the seat there, whoops, but that's okay, you can just put it back. And yeah, that works out really well because then any character with a weird size hairpiece, you can just push the seat back out of the way. And then I left these empty panels behind the two extra seats here, so Jar Jar is able to fit with his ears. They're obviously discussing the plan to rally the Gungans and take back the throne. And then Qui-Gon as well with his specialized hairpiece is able to fit here too, and his poncho doesn't get trapped or anything like that. And then lastly, I was going to show you what was in this crate back here. So in the movie, when Anakin is first bonding with Padme, he says that he's chilly because he's never been in a starship before, it's cold. So she brings him a red blanket and covers him up. So I just decided to place this spare red cape that I had in there as a little homage to that. Obviously, you can put whatever you want in there. I think you could fit a small blaster, or you could fit any little tiny accessory that you happen to have that you want to place in there. Maybe a 1x1 dark tan tile to represent the necklace, the Japor snippet that he gives to Padme, his first little flirtation attempt. But yeah, that's just a crate where you can put something. So, but yeah, there you go. There we have the kind of the main interior scenes. Let me show you one alternate scene that I like to set up with this. All right, so here you can see Darth Maul with his trashed speeder bike, and he's looking up because, oh, Qui-gon has made his escape. He jumped up onto the underside of the ship there. He's got his lightsaber in hand, and he's about to scramble up in there and escape danger. So I think that works out pretty well. I wish that the ramp was a little bit larger, but you know, there's only so much you can do with ships of this scale. But yeah, I think that works out decently well. And then of course, in the immediate aftermath of that scene, Qui-gon says, wow, that was scary. And Obi-Wan is like, what's the deal with that? And they say, I don't know. And then Qui-Gon says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, meet Anakin Skywalker. And bada bing, bada boom, the fate of the galaxy is sealed. So yeah, Qui-Gon's done with his lightsaber, so you can go ahead and place that on one of the 2 provided clips that I have in here for accessories. And that'll just hold on to that really neatly on the underside of that, and you can put everything away, and all the figures, and obviously the 2 lightsabers as well, are able to fit in there nicely. So yeah, that's it's a lot of really great little play scenarios and scenes that you can recreate with this ship, and I'm really, really pleased with it. So there we are. All right, and I'll just go ahead and put everything back, and you can see Qui-Gon is very sleepy after his duel with Darth Maul, so he's taking a rest. I'll put this lid back on here with him inside. And then Anakin is up at the front now, learning about the cockpit and flight controls and everything. And so I can put this one back on here, and a couple of stuff there, and you can see that everything fits in really nicely. And there you go. There's your Royal Naboo Nubian J-type starship from the Phantom Menace. And I think this is a really, really nice blend of model, display model, and playset, and I'm really, really proud of it. So in case you guys were wondering, if you haven't been following the channel for too long, if you want the Darth Maul speeder bike as well, that is something that I have made instructions for free, and there's a video how to build it on my channel as well. So just search for Darth Maul, you know, plug that into the search bar in for my channel, and you can go ahead and find that too. So there you go, guys. So instructions are available for this. Hopefully you guys got a kick out of it, and if you are interested in purchasing the instructions for this, Rebrickable makes it super easy to just get the parts that you need. It gives you a parts list right there on the page, and it tells you how to go about you know, ordering them from Bricklink or any other. There's Brickowl and there's other additional sellers, but I recommend Bricklink. So you guys can go ahead and order the parts that you need and make one of these for yourself if that's something that you're interested in. I really think LEGO should have made this into a set years ago. I'm quite baffled as to why we've never gotten one. It was a really important ship, kind of the Millennium Falcon of the prequels, I would say, and a lot of really iconic moments and things that happen in the saga that are very important take place in and around this ship. So it's really sad, but hey, you know, again, it's LEGO. We can make it ourselves, and so that's what I've done. So that's going to do it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being patient with me, as I am very busy these days. But I do try to get content out to you as regularly as I can. And yeah, I just really appreciate all of the support that you guys have shown me and continue to show me. So don't forget to like and subscribe. That's free. It's something you can do to support the channel without spending a penny. So that's really cool and really much appreciated. And I'll see you on the next video. So thanks again, you guys, and may the Force be with you.